Hey, what's up guys? Thank you so much for coming over here and watching this video. If you haven't already watched our 100 through 91, that's the correct numbers. Okay, our 100 through 91.
It is kind of confusing because 100 throws it off. You think it'd be 90 through 100, that's 11. So it's confusing.
So if you haven't watched that video, we'll put a link in the description below. There's probably gonna be something around this area that will link you to that video. Also, if you don't feel like watching that video, we'll go ahead and put in the description below what our list was, our 100 through 91 videos. Also, just here is a list of our disclaimers for this video, just so we don't have to go over them and take time for that. So you can go and press pause or whatever, look at that.
We're gonna go ahead and start off by each naming one of our honorable mentions.
For my honorable mention for this video, I'm gonna go ahead and do Dinner for Schmucks, which for me was an extremely hilarious movie, one of the funniest movies of this decade, in my opinion. And it just has a really cool story that seems like it'd be a very basic story that doesn't really have much depth into it. Well, I mean, to be honest, it doesn't have like a lot of depth in the story, but if you look into it, it actually does go nicely into the character story and really make you care for the characters.
And for my honorable mention for this video, I have Edge of Tomorrow, which is a sci-fi movie that doesn't really have a new concept, but it does it in a way that's really fresh and doesn't really feel repetitive, which it could have very well felt repetitive, but it really does it well.
For my number 90, I'm gonna go with Baby Driver, which is directed by Edgar Wright, and he does this movie amazingly, probably some of the most choreographed cinematography, and the actors probably obviously going through not training, but like just rehearsal, trying to time everything right with the music, and it just makes this movie really fast paced and extremely fun to watch.
For my number 90, I have Paddington, which is a really beloved movie, and I just recently watched it, and I really understand why it's really beloved, because it's about a bear who's really naive and coming into this world and really affecting and changing all the people he meets.
My number 89 is going to be Arrival, which is a really cool alien movie, which, by the way, I'm not a huge fan of alien movies, except for whenever they're done correctly or done really nicely like this one is. And this movie could have easily been extremely boring, considering what it's about. It's about some people trying to understand the language of these aliens and trying to figure out what they are trying to tell us. And whenever they figure it out, it's really interesting.
My 89 is Godzilla King of the Monsters, and now I know this wasn't a lot of people's favorite movie, but I don't really understand a lot of the complaints about it, because there's some people who complain that they show too much of the humans, and some people who say they didn't show enough of the humans and they didn't make the humans interesting enough. And I thought it was a really nice blend between the monsters and the humans. You had some of the best giant monster fight scenes I've seen in a movie, and it wasn't like the most deep human storyline I've ever seen, but it was one of the most interesting one, and I didn't really feel bored when the humans were on screen.
My 88 is going to be It Follows, which the concept of this movie really does sound stupid and honestly could have easily been done terribly and cheesy, but it pulls it off in a way to where this movie actually is really intense at times and just becomes really creepy.
My 88 is 21 Jump Street, and the directors of this movie, Chris Miller and Phil Lord, are probably some of the best comedy writers we have today. They have a few movies on my list later on, and this movie in particular has some of the stupidest humor I've seen in a movie, but it's pulled off so well, and it's really hilarious. 87, right?
Yeah. Let's talk about it first.
What?
You want to start it off?
Yeah.
Start doing that.
Matthew McConaughey. That's how we should start off all our videos.
It's always great that's how Matthew McConaughey actually pumps himself up.
Oh yeah, no, right? My number 87 is The Big Sick, and really thinking about
yours.
What?
Our 87.
Oh, okay. Oh, there's a star. For our 87, we both have The Big Sick, and really thinking about it, this movie really reminds me a lot of The Descendants. It has kind of a similar storyline. And not completely, but there are some things that are similar, and it really has the same kind of feel to where it's a really emotional movie, but it can actually be pretty hilarious at times.
And it's really cool to think that this actually happened to Kumail Nanjiani, the main actor and writer of this movie. to his wife whenever they were younger. And so you can tell this movie actually meant a lot to him. I don't know if everyone want to say about Sherlock Holmes, Game of Shadows.
Holmes, Game of Shadows. Say what you need to say. Say what you need to say. That gulp sound disgusting.
My number 86 is going to be Sherlock Holmes, Game of Shadows. This is the second of the Sherlock Holmes movies. And Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law are honestly just kind of perfect as Holmes and Watson. They really work really well together, and their acting is really done really well. Great chemistry. And overall, this movie is just really fun and exciting. I'm gonna start drinking water like that from now on.
For my 87, I have Coco. And now this is a Pixar movie that really blew me away with how their animation is. Because obviously Pixar is going to have great animation. But this one really took it to another level, in my opinion. Especially once he goes into the land of the dead. Just the lights, the colors that they used were just amazing. There's parts of the movie that really had me emotional, that almost had me crying. And like Marquez said, it was really cool how they had an all Hispanic cast.
My number 85 is going to be Deadpool, which is a movie that really got the character Deadpool perfect, almost to a T. Character that really, you know, a rated R character that the company, the studio, really probably didn't have that much, what is it? What's the word I'm thinking of?
There are lots of words you could be thinking of.
Yeah, or like the company didn't think it was gonna make them do that good.
It was a underdog.
I'll say something.
Yeah, that's right. Just say a random word.
Yeah.
They'll know what I mean.
This movie was some cheese bread.
You're gonna put that in the video too.
Yeah. Some cheese bread. Cheese bread did the company.
Is that what Fox, the new lingo is gonna be?
Fox saw this as a cheese bread. The studio really probably didn't have that much hope for, so this movie didn't get that high of a budget, and it really actually used the fact that it didn't get a big budget to its advantage, and to actually make some scenes even funnier.
My 85 is The Martian. Matt Damon does really well in this role, playing this kind of guy who's left alone on Mars and has to use his wits to try to survive while he waits for somebody his team to try to come find him.
My number 84 is going to be Knives Out, which is a murder mystery movie that really shows you that murder mysteries.
Murder mysteries. You're just creating a whole bunch of slang over here.
like one of those like Negative Nancy, what you call it?
Yeah.
We just go murder misty. Stop being such a murder mystery over there. It really shows us that murder mysteries can actually be done in more than one way, because this movie actually does show you things that you really don't think that it should about midway through, or maybe even earlier, and you're wondering, what is this movie gonna do now? But it keeps happening to just keep surprising you, and not just a surprise just to like be a surprise, but a surprise that actually makes this movie more intriguing as you go through it.
My number 84 is Nightcrawler. Now I really think this is one of Jake Gyllenhaal's best performances, and he's had a lot of great performances because he really plays a really creepy person in this movie. He lost a lot of weight, which wasn't even in the script for him to do so, but he felt like it would fit the character a lot better if he was really skinny, which it really did, because it added such another level of his creepiness. And overall, it's just a really suspenseful and kind of unsettling movie in a different kind of way.
My number 83 is going to be First Reformed, which is a movie which I can understand that some people won't like it at all, because this is an extremely slow movie that doesn't really seem like it's doing a lot. But once you watch it and once you understand it and kind of watch things, look it up more, you really understand that this movie really is trying to put something out there. And this movie, even though it's seeming really slow, it actually doesn't have a build up to it.
My number 83 is Sorry to Bother You, and this is one of the weirdest. and this is one of the weirdest movies I've seen this decade. Especially some things that happen towards the end. It gets really, really weird. Things that you wouldn't really expect to see involving horses. But it doesn't feel like it's weirdness just to be weird. It feels like it has a message. It has a point to all the things that it's doing.
My number 82 is going to be The Other Guys, which another movie I think is one of the funniest of this decade. It's a movie that really at times does have simple and kind of stupid humor. But overall, I just love how this movie has a way to use jokes multiple times throughout the movie, and somehow or another, the way they use these jokes multiple times, it actually gets funnier as it goes along.
My number 82 is The Conjuring, and this is one of the best modern horror movies that we've gotten here recently this decade. James Wan directs it, and unfortunately it spawned a lot of Conjuring universe movies that have been pretty terrible. But this one itself was really great.
My number one is gonna be 80. My number one is
One?
I was supposed to be 81.
Never heard of that movie. They're really obscure movies. Your number one of the day.
It's so good. I'm gonna skip to it right. My number 81 is going to be The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Now, first of all, this movie can actually be really fun at times whenever it does show what's going on in his head. But overall, I just love the message of this movie, and the message is displayed really well. And I love how the ending doesn't try to go for this extremely perfect ending, but goes more for a realistic and feel-good ending.
My number 81 is Drive. Now, this movie is a lot slower than you would probably expect from the name Drive, and knowing what the movie's about, you would probably expect it to be more faster paced. But it's done in a way that's really artistic. It feels very, very what's the word?
Cheesy bread.
It feels very deliberate, and Ryan Gosling does really great in the movie.
Well, there you go, guys. There is our 90 through 81. We hopefully will have our next video. We're actually going to film it right after this. So we'll be probably wearing the same clothes and everything.
I'm changing my shirt.
Oh, I'm not changing.
Keep up the illusion.
And we're going to have our, whatever the number is after that. What's after?
71 to 80.
Is it 70? What? Yeah. Okay, there you go. Yeah. Or 80 to 71.
Graduate college.
All the the numbers that come after that. That's what's going to happen afterwards.
Yeah, and don't forget to follow us on social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at 2AwesomeMen, which I will try to start posting. I know I said that 2 videos ago, but still hasn't been done.
And I already know what I say after this. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and you'll see, and you will see us.
Speaking of Yoda.
Sorry, it's like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Like Yoda over there.
It's like 4 or 5 in the morning, and you will see us later.